Tommy, 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 Tommy. The only QB Brian Daboll won't yell at, baby. I love this week of football. If you thought your team was good, wrong. They suck. Jags, Lions, Dolphins, Packers. If you thought your QB sucked, wrong. He's awesome. Most importantly, I'll remember December 10th, 2023 as the night the world turned on old Patty Mahomes. The Eagles got ass butt pushed back to reality. Tommy DeVito became the world's greatest Italian superhero since Mario, and Giants fans are the princesses he saved. And Will Levis led an incredible comeback on Monday night. Today we will assess the real winners and losers from NFL Week 14, which include my Broncos this week, as I had to give the new worst game ever to the Vikings and Raiders. Winners and losers starts right after the Blop 10 plays, a segment so popular Tommy DeVito's agent just gave it a kiss on the cheek. Blop 10, ESPN airing DeMarcus Lawrence, quoting Marshawn Lynch.
Hit a motherfucker in the face over and over and over and over again.
And then apologizing.
Okay, want to quickly apologize for some sound we aired a couple moments ago.
Blop 9. Rarely am I going to hype a throw from the 3-yard line, but Lamar Jackson shaking two dudes to weave this ball to Zay Flowers on the 2-point conversion deserves the hype. Number 8, Goldberg may have went a bit too hard here. You can't talk this kind of trash and then lose in heartbreaking Falcons fashion. If you reverse the video, it's a more accurate representation of what happened in this game. Number 7, the historically accurate and traditional Vikings keg stand celebration. A touching tribute to Minnesota's OC, Wes Phillips, who was arrested on suspicion of DUI this week. Number 6, LSU QB Jaden Daniels edging Penix for the Heisman on Saturday night, edging Penix. Blop 5, DK Metcalf had been drawing some attention after doing sign language touchdown celebrations, and after he got ejected in San Francisco, 49ers long snapper Tabor Pepper signed 14, fucked around and found out. Blop 4, tickets to the Saints-Panthers game in New Orleans were going for as little as $4, which of course prompts the question, was that too much for this game? Number 3, Parker Washington makes a really nice touchdown catch for the second week in a row. This is impressive considering I had no freaking clue who he was 2 weeks ago. Blop 2, Fletcher Cox and Jalen Carter combined for the strip sack and touchdown. Only Eagles touchdown of the night. I haven't seen a big Cox wreck a Cowboy like this since I watched Brokeback Mountain 79 times in 2005. Blop 1, if you recall, the Jets beat the Bills week 1 with a walk-off punt return touchdown. And the Ravens did the same. Tylan Wallace was spitting hot fire as he beats LA in OT with a walk-off punt return game-sealing touchdown here.
Dylan, and Dylan.
And the best blop, the Blop 0. This incredible improv by Travis Kelce throwing a touchdown pass mid-play to Kadarius Toney that didn't count because Toney lined up offsides.
He's offside! He's lining up!
Even when Toney catches a touchdown, he still drops it. That led to Patrick Mahomes revealing that he really does want to be just like Tom Brady, bitching more loudly at the officials than any other quarterback in the league. People think Mahomes is mad at the refs. He's actually pissed off that Travis Kelce proved anyone can throw a touchdown with Andy Reid as their head coach. But wait, there's more. Sky more? No, but close. Is the sky falling for the Chiefs? That might be dramatic, but the ceiling sure the hell is. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, pants are falling off. Chris Jones sure as hell ain't gonna be back in Kansas City. And Patty Mahomes literally could not stop bitching about the officials. Winners, the Buffalo Bills, who could get into the playoffs.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Losers, NFL fans who were fed 24 straight hours of Patrick Mahomes complaining instead of a single person talking about Buffalo getting a big win and possibly saving their season. Why did Kansas City need a score late in this game? Oh yeah, because the Bills defense shut down Kansas City early, helping Buffalo jump to a 14-0 lead. And by losing, the winners became the terrorists. So thanks for nothing, Kansas City. James Cook clearly heard and understood the message from Sean McDermott's 2019 9/11 locker room speech. No other way to explain himself sacrificing himself and flipping into the end zone. The Bills were better in this game, which is why they won. Not by much, but they were better. Josh Allen's Patrick Mahomes were nearly identical through the air. 1 TD, 1 pick each. Both quarterbacks did shit no other QBs can or really should do. Like this stuff right here is just nasty. This is also nasty from Josh Allen. Even in an ugly game, we should be talking about how incredible Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes were, not why Mahomes is now a wah-wah baby. Oh, wah-wah baby wants some mother's milk? Wah-wah baby wants some mother's milk? That's my new Mahomes impression. Spent all night perfecting that. Josh Allen's two best plays were this 4th and 1, ridiculous, and then his touchdown run, somehow even more ridiculous, as he just bulldozes his way and carries an entire team on his back. Buffalo's tip pick on the opening drive was probably the difference in this game. Kansas City was in field goal range. While Mahomes' pick wasn't really his fault there, Josh Allen's pick, it's always Josh's fault. The Bills kicked a field goal late to take the lead. Then all hell broke loose when the Kelsey touchdown pass was negated by offsides, which takes me to my winner, NFL official Carl Cheppers, explaining exactly how offsides Kadarius Toney was. No warning is required, especially if they are lined up so far offsides, they're actually blocking our view of the ball. And yes, loser Patty Mahomes saying this as his defense of the penalty.
It takes away from not only this game and this season, but from a legendary career that Travis has had.
The only thing sillier than Mahomes' explanation there was Jim Nantz asking Tony Romo if the Chiefs had lost the locker room while Mahomes was throwing a tantrum on the sideline.
Well, have they lost the locker room? What is going on here with Mahomes?
Wait, is that why Mahomes was so mad he couldn't find the locker room? Did Sean McDermott collude with the terrorists to steal the Chiefs' locker room? Winning good sport, Baker Mayfield, who drops his shoulder to plow his way into the end zone and then helps up the man he just destroyed. A lot like America to Japan after World War II. That's how you make a war reference, Sean McDermott. Winning finish, the Bucs offense. Desmond Ridder in this game, probably his best career game. Pretty good. He rushed for a TD and converted a 2-pointer with 3.5 minutes left in the game. Tampa could have simply tied it with a field goal, but Baker hit Chris Godwin twice, and the second one gave them a chance to go for the kill. Mayfield's clutch gene kicks in, and Cade Otton roasts the Birds for the win, as Drake London eventually comes 4 yards short at the end of the game. Drake London finishes the game with 172 yards. Another wasted performance like that, and London just might Brexit the Falcons. Winning quarterback? Getting weird this week. It's a 4-way tie between 4 backup QBs who combined for 4 wins and 11 touchdowns. Bailey Zappi had the best game a Patriots QB has had since 2021, throwing 3 touchdowns and nailing the post-game interaction with Bill Belichick here.
4 piece. Yes, sir. Congrats.
Jake Browning was excellent in his 3rd start in relief of Joe Burrow. Browning had a higher passer rating than his NFC clone Brock Purdy this week, which gave Browning the highest on Sunday since he finally got Chase Brown involved in the short passing game, and he finished with 80 receiving yards, pretty much all yak. Joe Flacco then improved to 10-2 in Cleveland, but had his first win as an actual member of the Browns. Flacco, 311 passing yards, first 300-yard passer for the Browns this season, and the only QB this season to throw 3 TDs in a game for the Browns as well. All 3 of his touchdowns were of 30 yards or more, which Browns fans have not witnessed in a single game since 1981. And finally, Zach Wilson. There were reports he might not have wanted to start or play in this game, but he came out and he had one of his best games of his career. Also a 301-yard performance, 2 TDs, and 1 to Randall Cobb. Shout out GM Aaron Rodgers, and no picks. That might be the key for Zach Wilson. Just do everything reluctantly. He had no desire to throw those 2 touchdowns or finish with a passer rating of 117.9. This is the year of the backup, and it's honestly nice to see them coming through in big games. Just not Drew Lock. And the I'm dying inside fan base this week. Panthers fans are dying inside just about every week, but on Sunday, Texans fans have to be feeling confused, heartbroken, and downtrodden. A week ago, they beat the Broncos in thrilling fashion. Surely they would beat Zach Wilson and the Jets, right? Wrong. CJ Stroud had the worst game of his season, completing just 10 of his 23 passes for 91 yards before he left the game with a concussion. There were 11 drives and 11 punts and 0 points at halftime. Houston had an abysmal 135 yards of offense, which was less than the Raiders and Vikings had in their 3-0 masterclass in not scoring. In fairness to Stroud, he was missing Tank Dell, Nico Collins, and Dalton Schultz, and the receivers that were playing dropped 7 passes. But his MVP candidacy has likely come to an end, and the game up that the Texans had in the wild card race, not to mention their chance to sneak into a top spot in the AFC South, were rudely interrupted by the Jets. And somewhere, Patty Mahomes was still bitching about the officials. Losers? Defenders covering tight ends and National Forget About Tight Ends Day. The Rams forgot to cover Isaiah Likely, who found the end zone here. David Njoku was Joe Flacco's most impactful target. 2 TDs for Njoku. And again, Jacksonville simply had no interest in covering him. And most embarrassingly, the Chargers let the least athletic tight end in the league, Adam Troutman, slip behind them for the widest open tight end touchdown of the weekend. The backup quarterbacks who ultimately lost this week were Aiden O'Connell, Mitch Trubisky, Drew Lock, and Gardner Minshew. Losing QBs? Well, Derek Carr and Bryce Young played in the same game, so screw it. We'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. Earlier in the year, we watched Derek Carr yell at his teammates.
And I say, you go back to hell where you came from in the name of Jesus.
Now they are yelling back.
Like, Lord, sorry. I didn't mean it.
Carr really didn't have to do much to win this game, and he didn't, averaging just 4.6 yards per attempt, almost all of his yards coming late, and he still finished with just 119 passing yards to Young's disgusting 137. And honestly, Carr's teammate yelling at him, a little rude, considering Derek Carr played after suffering his 2nd concussion, had a rib cartilage fracture, and has an AC joint sprain, which should tell you just how good the Saints think Jameis Winston is.
Yeah, just pain. It was pain everywhere.
Carr did throw another touchdown to Jimmy Graham, the most efficient receiver in the league. 4 receptions, 3 touchdowns this season for Graham. And he will soon find a way to bend physics and have more touchdown receptions than receptions. But Bryce Young was so much worse. He managed to average fewer than 4 yards per attempt, got sacked 4 times, including one where the ball popped into the air and landed in the arms of Pete Warner. He did have a few nice scrambles for 40 yards, showing off the feet in ways he hasn't done this season, but it would have been a lot easier if he had just completed more than 36% of his passes. And then the Kirk Cousins Award, which goes to the QB that no matter what he does, his team loses. The big Kirko, it was gonna go to whoever lost the Rams-Ravens game in OT, and unfortunately, Stafford gets it. He earns the dubious honor this week. Stafford was a little all over the place at times in this game, going 23 of 41, but he threw for 294 yards, 3 tutties, and he never turned the ball over. Most importantly, he found a way to get both Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua involved, with those 2 combining for over 200 of his passing yards. Stafford's not having a crazy year, statistically, kind of marred by injuries, but he's done a good job keeping the Rams, a team with questionable talent and depth in a lot of areas, in games with good opponents. And he's far from the reason they lost this one. He has 10 touchdown passes in the last 3 games. Winner? Odell Beckham Jr. showing out in front of his old team and quite possibly landing himself on another Super Bowl winning squad. Well played, Odell. Losing stat? We haven't had a game in 4 years be 0-0 at halftime, and there were 2 this week. Jets, Texans, and Vikings, Raiders. This was the first week with 2 scoreless first halves since 1988, the year Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce were born. That can't be a coincidence. The Jets scored 30 points against the Texans, all in the second half. That actually might be the more impressive stat. Losers, Cowboys fans, do they know they have assigned seating? Winner, kicker, Brandon Aubrey, who might be the greatest kicker of all time. The 28-year-old rookie was kicking for Toronto FC before returning to football with the USFL's Birmingham Stallions. He's been great all season, but against Philly on Sunday night, Aubrey became the first kicker in NFL history to hit 2 field goals in the same game of at least 59 yards. And that 60-yarder he obliterated through the gooch might have been good from 80. Aubrey is 30 for 30 this season, which means that legally ESPN must make a documentary about his performance. He's the first player to make his first 10 kicks, his first 20 kicks, and now his first 30 kicks. For his sake, I almost hope he misses one before the postseason.
So that's a pretty good bet. If you say, do you think Gary Anderson will make this field goal? The answer should probably be yes.
39 yards away. And it's not good.
Losers? Yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles, who failed to score an offensive touchdown in a game for the first time since the 2019 wildcard loss to Seattle when Carson Wentz got hurt in the first half. I think Eagles fans still despise Jadeveon Clowney for that hit on Wentz. But if you're only counting the regular season, it's the first time they've gone without a touchdown on offense since 2017, before Nick Foles went on his legendary run to the Super Bowl. In the span of 2 weeks, Philly has gone from 10-1 and the clear favorite to get the bye in the NFC to 10-3 and sweating out the division against the red-hot Dallas Cowboys. And who could have seen this coming? Oh yeah, me.
It can barely stand on its own leg, but it still got you, Philly. The cursed wheel still got you.
Winners, believers in the dark arts. Now, David Carr made clickbait headlines earlier in the week by saying the Eagles would be better off starting Marcus Mariota until Jalen Hurts is healthy. Wrong, nerd. They'd actually be better off starting punter Braden Mann, who gave us the only memorable Eagles offensive highlight in this game. And somewhere later that night, while making love to his wife, Patrick Mahomes was still complaining to the officials. Losing team, the Lions, who I hate to say it, but are on potential fraud alert. They needed an insane comeback to beat the Bears a few weeks ago, but this time Chicago took care of the Lions with no problem. They beat Goff with no issues. It wasn't even messy. Jared Goff was on that no interception streak, and all of a sudden he's thrown 10 picks this season, including 5 interceptions in the last 4 games. Goff doesn't have a great reputation in cold weather games, and this game certainly won't help that narrative. Let's be honest, there's definitely some shrinkage going on, which is weird when you think about it. It's easier to beat Goff when he has severe shrinkage. That's like the worst superpower on earth. Winners, Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles. Montez Sweat showed Eberflus all the love this week. I like Chicago's play calling in this game, and this reverse TD to DJ Moore, his first career rushing tud. Hell, Justin Fields paid homage to his former team owner, Aaron Rodgers, and throws a DJ Moore touchdown on a vintage Rodgers free play. Sweat has the most sacks for the Bears since joining the team with 3.5, and he's helped turn the Bears defense into a top 5 unit since joining. Big winners? Yeah, my Denver Broncos, who once again have a winning record after starting 1-5. They're in great position to snag a wild card spot, and after the Chiefs have lost 2 games in a row, they're now just 1 game out of first place in the AFC West. Denver was aggressive on defense, whether it was Justin Herbert or Easton Stick at QB, blitzing anybody and everybody, picking up 6 sacks, a pair of forced fumbles, not counting what should have been a sack, fumble, and scoop and score from standout corner Jaquan McMillan. Denver dominated, so I'm not bad, but this indeed is the fuck the refs moment. How on earth this is ruled a forward pass in the National Football League, I'll never understand. But if you want to stop bad calls from happening, you gotta buy my Fuck the Refs blend of coffee, available only at BenchwarmerBrew.com. A lot of great coffee and a lot of great things there, so check it out. Losers, the Chargers, who were 1 for 5 on 4th down, including 2 4th downs where they could have kicked field goals early in this game. Staley and Campbell's aggression is biting them both in the arse, but only Staley will feel it because Dan Campbell is wearing that thickly padded diaper. Losers, Justin Herbert's fingers, which just keep breaking. He's breaking fingers at the same rate Phillip Rivers produces offspring. On the positive side, Easton Stick looked not bad, and basically doubled Quentin Johnston's yard total on the season in one throw. Austin Eckler scored the first offensive touchdown for the Chargers since Week 12 against the Ravens. Loser, Jerry Jeudy's bank account. Jerry Jeudy had a tough game, dropping a deep pass and inexplicably not dragging his foot in the end zone here. We've seen this Walmart-owned team have no issue paying guys, and Jerry is making it near impossible for Wally World to bring him back with a second NFL contract.
Who's an average wide receiver they use a first-round pick on.
Winner, our other receiver, Cortland Sutton, who made the catch of the year for the 5th week in a row, pulling in a 60-yard bomb with one hand while being interfered with. Sean Payton also drew up one of the best plays I've seen all year, a wing T bootleg that got Adam Troutman wide open in the back of the end zone for his 3rd touchdown of the season. The Broncos now have won 6 of their last 7 and are in the midst of a massive turnaround. A lot of the credit should go to defensive coordinator Vance Joseph, whose defense went from giving up 70 points in Week 3 to nearly forcing a shutout against a division opponent on the road. Winning player, Brandon Ayuk, who might be the most underrated wide receiver in the NFL. It's tough for him to get the love because even in this game, he was outshined by Deebo Samuel, who had 149 yards and a TD. Ayuk, though, went over 1,000 yards against Seattle. The second straight year, he's eclipsed 1,000 yards, and he did it in just 12 games. Ayuk's yards have gone up each season in his 4-year career after being picked 25th overall out of Arizona State in 2020. Just another wide receiver the Eagles could have taken instead of Jalen Reagor, or God forbid, Jerry Jeudy. McCaffrey, Deebo, and Ayuk all had over 100 yards in this game. A game where it felt like the 49ers didn't even play their best offensive football. Loser, me, thinking George Kittle was hitting on me during the broadcast. Geno Smith was out with a groin injury. Fitting, it was Horsecock Lock coming in to fill the void at QB. Sadly, sometimes having a horsecock doesn't satisfy. There is such a thing as too big.
Drew Lock has a horse cock!
Yeah, let's go. Let's get this shit.
And somewhere, while bailing his brother out of jail, Patrick Mahomes was still complaining about the officials. Winners? Italian Americans. These Wisconsin cheeseheads, they never fucked with no mozzarella, ricotta, romano, parmesan wielding football master like a Tommy DeVito. Before Tommy Cutlet sent the Packers packing, the world was introduced to Tommy DeVito's agent. Yes, he's an agent of death. Yes, he looks like a Marty Scorsese. Cast Tommy DeVito's agent.
How the fuck am I funny? What the fuck is so funny about me? Tell me.
The Packers came into this game hot, and then they spent the whole night choking on Tommy's cannoli. What happened in this game? Green Bay turned the ball over. We cut to Tommy DeVito's agent. Packers turn over the ball. We cut to Tommy DeVito's agent. It's Tommy's world in New York City now. A 100-plus passer rating in 3 straight games. First undrafted rookie quarterback to win 3 straight without throwing a pick. He and Will Levis got 9 TDs right now. And both these young QBs are tough. Tommy DeVito don't need no stinking flag, okay? You can take your flag and shove it all the way up your ass. I got a flag and it's red, white, and green. Tommy DeVito is pulling proud Italians out of the woodworks like the final season of The Sopranos. Zach Wilson has gotten all the attention for it, but Tommy DeVito is the guy I would never leave alone with my mom, all right? Tommy threw a dime, or as they call it in Italy, my thick, juicy sausage covered in God's gravy to take the lead in this game. Winning ending, Packers-Giants. The only reason Green Bay had a chance was because Saquon Barkley had one of the most unfortunate fumbles I've ever seen. I thought Saquon was tripped up and tackled here, but they ruled that he reestablished himself as a runner, and then both Packers smartly do not touch Saquon, and Green Bay gets the ball. If Darnell Savage doesn't swipe his legs, I don't think he falls there. So I think that should have been a tackle. Anyway, Green Bay took the lead, and shout out to the NFL official who got blasted and still made the correct touchdown call. But there was still time on the clock. And what do we know? We know Tommy DeVito don't get fucking rattled, kids. He dices up the Packers' soft prevent defense way too easily. Sets up the game-winning field goal for Fat Randy to come in and blast it through the gooch. And the Giants win in dramatic fashion. Oh, and I guess the Titans came back from trailing by 14 points with 3 minutes left on the clock and won. In 767 straight games, when a team was down by that many at 3 minutes, none of them ever won. But since Will Levis ain't a made guy, nobody gives a flying fuck about his weird coffee drinking pasty ass. No offense. Mike Vrabel don't give a fuck either. Will Levis also threw the only big man TD of the week, so nothing but love, Will, all right? Will Levis is a dude, and I like the way he plays, like a madman. You're just not really Italian enough, are you, Will? Thanks for watching Winners and Losers here on That's Good Sports. Please, if you don't hate me by now, subscribe to this YouTube channel. We got football videos all the dang time. And don't forget to check out the new worst game ever. That video's on the screen featuring the Vikings and Raiders.